Do you know you can customize your Husqvarna Viking Brilliance 75Q machine to the way you sew? So we're going through all the video tutorials where you can master your machine from beginning to end, or if you are looking to purchase this machine, these free video tutorials will definitely give you an idea if this machine is right for you. Here we're going to talk about where you can customize some of the settings within this machine. And we're talking about the set menu. Now, before I actually get into the set menu, you have probably been looking at the quilt in the background. That Husqvarna Viking Stitching Cosmos online course would actually have you using some of these features quite a bit. So there's areas of your machine that we want you to explore that you never really think about getting into. And I have to say, this is one area that people kind of forget that they have and they don't use it. So let's take a little highlight, a little walkthrough of where you find this and how you can get things to be more in tune to the way you're going to be using your machine. Now, the way I use the machine and the way you use the machine can be completely different. We're going to find that we all sew differently, and I love the fact that Husqvarna Viking gives us this ability to customize the machine. So I am going to start by touching the three dots in the top corner, your menu button, and look all the way down to the bottom where the two gears are. Now, when we touch the question mark and touch that function, it says set menu. So touch to open the set menu, and all the settings are displayed and can be adjusted. And the other thing is a lot of times things that you set here will remain the same, not all of them. So just kind of keep that in mind as you turn the machine off and on, which ones stay on and which ones don't. So let's start by going into the set menu. I do have to tell you, whatever your last tab that you opened is the last one it's going to open up to. I'm going to jump over. We're going to work kind of from the right to the left. So the one with the little scissors and needle at the top is the sewing settings. This area is probably the one you're going to use the most, but I am going to show you these other two tabs shortly. Anything that you turn on or off will show either as a blue bubble turned on or a gray bubble when it's off, unless you see where it says twin needle. Okay, so for example, when we go to put a twin needle in this machine, all you need to do is come to settings, touch along the line where it said off, and you can actually tell the machine what width of twin needle you're using. I use a lot of 2.0, so watch what happens when we do this. Now when you go back to your stitches, everything that you select is going to be doubled or twinned, as I might say. And it's kind of fun to go through some of these decorative stitches and see what they're going to look like as a twin needle. You're going to see, I just love going through here because sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't think that that's how it's going to look like. Ooh, maybe that would be better than just a single. So the nice thing is it reduces the stitch width of the machine for the twin needle that you're using. So again, you can change it to different widths, and each of those stitches will actually change based on how wide of twin needle you have on. All right, so I am going to come back and turn off. And let's go to the next one, stitch with safety. Now on this machine, if you want to keep the needle to be in the center needle position and not let it go outside that, if you turn this on, this is one way to do it. I sometimes like to turn this on when I'm using a 1/4 inch foot. You know, in a 1/4 inch foot, you just sew with the center and the needle in the center needle position. If you turn this on, when you have a 1/4 inch foot on, you won't accidentally pick a zigzag or decorative stitch, forget to change your foot, and voila, you break a needle because it hits the foot. That's one way. Now what this is also used for is when you use a straight stitch throat plate. Now these days the straight stitch throat plates that you purchase for this machine are censored, and it will activate this feature for you, and then the single hole is going to keep your needle in the center position, and then of course not letting you do a zigzag, breaking your needle, but this time on the plate. So just know you can come in. I have used that for other reasons other than just when I'm using a straight stitch throat plate. The next one, selective thread cutter auto for sewing. Okay, so you know sometimes when you use this, you will find that it like automatically cuts at the end of your stitch. Not all of them, but that is set for the auto of those stitches. Okay, so if you don't want it to cut on certain things, and it does, you just come in here and turn that off. So honestly, that's one I usually leave on. I'm pretty happy with when it cuts in an automatic feature for me, so leave that on. Sensor presser foot lift. Have you noticed that when you stop with your needle in the down position, your foot pops up and hovers? Now, again, I love that feature most of the time, but if that is something that you don't want that foot to release your fabric when it pops up, you can actually turn it off. So you can stop with your needle down in the fabric and your foot stays down on the fabric. So if that is something you would prefer, that is where you can turn it on and off. Fixed auto. A lot of times too, that automatic fix or locking stitch at the beginning of your seam or in certain places is not what you want. So you can turn that off or on. Okay, let's jump over to the other tab. The one in the middle, the picture of a zigzag, is stitch settings. So in here, now these are grayed out right this second, so if I touch them, nothing happens. One of them is balance. Now, let me go back and pick a stitch that actually has a forward and reverse. So as you sew a stitch like this, it has to go forward and then back up and then forward and back up to get that whole entire pattern. A lot of your decorative stitches have that as well. So when we go back into the set menu, see how it remembers where I was? Your balance. So if those stitches don't come back and connect in the right holes, maybe they're a little spread apart just because of your fabric. Sometimes when I work on like corduroy or stretchy fabrics, I don't get the stitch to look as smooth because it's not coming back exactly how far it should. You can come in and balance out the stitch. So you either kind of plus it or minus it. On this machine, you just need to actually try it. So if it gets worse, you went the wrong way, and then you can come back and get it dialed in the correct way. Very slight changes are made, so do a couple numbers up or down and try it there. With balance adjustment, so again, grayed out because this is not a stitch that has a side-to-side motion, but if you do have stitches that are balancing not correctly as they go side to side, you can also adjust it there. This one is one I do use quite a bit, pressure foot pressure. So if I am adjusting for maybe some stretchier fabrics and I don't want it to come out wavy, I'll come in here and then reduce the pressure to half or even more. And so that foot isn't sitting as tight on your fabric and can get a better, it'll just come out flat. So super easy there. So back to normal is 6.0. I know that because the numbers are no longer red and they turn back to black. All right, last one, sewing machine. More areas of, not as many things I change here. Language, auto repeat, so if you have a little pop-up that comes up, it actually pops up and makes an audible sound. Lock screen, so it locks the screen so little happy fingers coming to visit don't accidentally touch things that could change something. It actually locks the screen, but it has a big OK button on it. And if you ever are questioning, touch the question mark and touch what is it, and it will actually give you a how-to and what it's for answer to your question. Touch screen adjust. I will tell you that this is one on occasion, for any reason that you touch a function on screen and like the next function over selects, or you select this stitch and the next one over selects, your screen can get kind of unattached or changed. So even though you touch here, you're getting the other one. So this allows you to go in, and what it'll do is bring up like locations you touch, and then it recalibrates your screen. So that's something that if you need to, you can get in and do that. Stitch plate sensor. I feel this is for when we are using the straight stitch throat plate. If you don't want it to be censored, you can turn it off. I'm not sure why I would want to do that, but It's there. Okay, leave that one on. Trust me. When you are confirming everything, just check mark the top corner there and you're back to where you want it to be. So just enjoy trying out some of those things, seeing what settings work best for you. Some of those things like the foot not always lifting, or maybe you don't want the fix function on, go in, turn them on, turn them off, and see which one works for you. And once again, I invite you to take a look at our free video tutorials for the Stitching Cosmos course. There are links in the description below where you can check out that course, preview over 10 videos, 10 lessons for free, and see if that course might be right for you. So if you're like wanting something to do to help you master these amazing functions and corners and settings your machine has, we use those throughout that course when appropriate, and you have them, so let's use them. I hope to see you in one of our online classes soon.